Hello everybody, in this video we are going to be talking about taking those songs that we've been working on for a few weeks and making revisions on, and we are going to make a demo and a chart of all of your songs. So I know that we've been talking about Avery's revision process for the last few weeks, but I've also been doing this revision process with my songs, and I've also been making demos at each stage to show you not just how a song can progress, but also how demos of that song will also grow as the song gets more mature. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at the lyrics of each draft, and then we're gonna listen to the demo of each draft and see how they change. So in version 1, remember, I started at the same outline as Avery did, right? We did the dice rolls. We were looking character as a young girl, she's mourning on a beach, and we fleshed that out. So from here, I go ahead and I'm starting with some stuff that I really like. I like the if I'm here, I'm looking out. If I'm here, I'm without my anchor. Breathing in the salted wind. I like those lines. I think those set up the scene really well. I start with this pre-chorus where I like the melody that I had in my mind, but I didn't love the lyrics, so these are some placeholders here. And similar in the chorus, like I like the "It's All My Fault," but the other parts are, placeholdery. So they're just in there to give me a sense of what I want rhythmically from the lyrics, but I know that I'm going to change these later. So I drafted this up in Soundtrap. And before we listen to it, we'll just kind of make sense of what we're looking at here. So there's the piano. Here is a pad, so it's just kind of this soft synth that fills in some space. It's playing the same chords as the piano. We have two microphones that's just recording some guitar that I'm playing, mostly just playing the root note of the chords. We have some drums. This drum line is a really consistent, just kind of timekeeper, and this drum beat grows with the song. And then everything else are vocals, right? And I'm playing with a lot of vocal effects in this one. So let me play you a little bit of this.
Said anything about the person that I need to be. Now it's all just waves crashing over me. It's all my fault. It's all my fault. How do I go on?
So that happens one more time, so we don't need to listen to that. But you can tell there's a lot of rough spots to this. There's a lot of good spots to this. And the point of making demos, there's a lot of reasons. For me, I like making demos as I write so I can hear musical ideas and play with them. So you can see in the vocal line, there's a lot of experimentation. I have some heavy vocal effects. I have some harmonies that are not super tied in yet, right? I'm experimenting. And that's good, right? I learned a ton through making this demo about how the song works, about what lines feel a little bit cumbersome to sing, and what lines feel strong. So I come out of that one, and I go into version 2. So in version 2, I fix these lyrics. I make these what I feel a lot stronger. The first, I wanted to fight, wanted to cry, got to my feet to flee, but now it's just waves crashing over me. I really like that. There's a nice clear image of a conflict happening. I like that repetitive F sound. It kind of rolls off the tongue. I like it. I think it's a strong point. In the chorus, I get rid of these placeholder lines, and leave them open. I think the space is not too bad, so I leave that space there. And then I do double it right here. I end up reverting that later. I don't think doubling it was the right choice, but that's what I went with in this decision. Wrote a second verse that tells... So the second verse just goes into a little bit more of the story of the song, that, this person started a fight and regrets it, basically. And then we have a bridge here. The bridge goes when everything is all too much, numb to sight and smell and touch. It's agony, but nowhere next to pain. Now that it's agony, but nowhere next to pain line I had highlighted as I don't like that. It's very melodramatic. It's very over the top. So I had it in there just, again, it's a placeholder, and I knew I was going to revise that going forward. But let's go ahead and take a listen to how this one came out. And now you notice we're in a different program here. This is software called Reason. It's a similar idea to Soundtrap, but I'm a little more familiar with it. I move a little quicker in here. So I did the demo here. If you guys have any software that you're working in that you like better than Soundtrap, by all means, go ahead. But yeah, let me play you this. I'm going to start kind of midway through the verse.
Won't stop my stare, I am frozen. First I wanted to fight out.
So you can see the vocal effects are dialed back. It's a little more of a clean vocal. The drums are a little bit more predictable and straightforward. And then the big climax of this song is the bridge. So here's the chorus. And
When everything is all too much, you numb the sight and smell and touch. It's agony, but nowhere next to pain.
super over the top, right? So we have the choir. I was kind of trying to lean into the drama of it. But I didn't feel like this was particularly effective. So I actually went the other way in the next one, which I'll show you in just a bit. In verse 3, I realized that the chorus was kind of dragging along, so I cut it in half. It was just doing the same thing twice, so I just condensed it down. I think that was the right call. And in the bridge, I fixed that agony but nowhere next to pain to erode it down and exposed every vein. I think that is a little more nuanced and a little less just dramatic. So I think that's an improvement. But you can tell most of the things here are pretty much where they are. The big thing is actually happening down in my musical notes. What I did is I moved, instead of having the piano as a core instrument, I moved to having the guitar as my core instrument. And on the guitar, I used a capo, which, if you're unfamiliar, basically takes everything that you're playing and moves it up all together. I used it to move it into a more comfortable key for my voice, so I didn't have to be strained to hit those real high notes. So let's check that out. I think this is a lot more of where I imagine the song ending up. And I like this version better. So again, I'll kind of start it midway. I'll start it from the beginning.
If I'm here looking up, if I'm here, I'm without my anchor.
So you hear a lot more open, right? The guitar is more spacious. And there's only 4 tracks here, right? It's just guitar, and vocals, right? Let me show you the chorus.
Crashing over me, it's all my fault. It's all my fault.
Really, really spacious.
We all know it now.
All right. And you can see a little bit of a side note, the guitar is all chopped up, and that's because my upstairs neighbors were doing some construction this day. So that's totally fine to do, right? If you can only get little segments of good audio, cut them up, put them how you need to, rearrange them. This doesn't need to be a perfect take. Again, this is a learning tool, not a full production. Let me show you just the bridge and then we'll move on. The bridge, I still liked the bridge being this kind of build and energy, but I didn't want it to be like so over the top as like it was in that second version. But check this out. I think this is a good middle point.
When everything is all too much, numb to sight and smell and touch, you wrote it down, exposed every day. Nothing I do can drown it out. The pounding in my ears so loud, can't feel the sound. But every single grain, it's all my fault.
Yeah. So I like this, and I feel like even though this is my favorite version of the demo, I think it was still really important that I did these other versions to learn about the song and to try some different things and see what was powerful and see what was not. And I definitely wouldn't have made this version right off the bat. And I'm glad I got to this version. So the last thing that I wanted to show you is the chart. And let's talk a little bit about the chart. The basic idea of a chart is that you have a simple, just maybe a 1 or 2 page thing that you can hand to your band, and they can get the big ideas of your song. It doesn't need to have every detail, but it should have all of the core concepts. What I have is I have all my lyrics clearly labeled with what part of the song they are, and then down below, I have all of the chords for those corresponding parts. So musicians can follow along in the lyrics, hear when it's time to change, and know where that next change is going to take them. One thing you'll note is because guitars are using a capo, I have a guitar one with the chords that the guitar would be playing above the capo, and then I have a transposed version of what those actual chords are. Because a piano player is not going to want to see C capo 4. They want to see that is an E chord, right? So it's worth it to think about, what do each of my players want to know from this song? So you could put in notes, like for the drummer, you could say, there's a build into the bridge, or this is a drop chorus. I don't particularly know where I want to take this in for drums, so I'm leaving it open, and I would trust that the drummer would have some good ideas and we could work on that together. So we'll go ahead and end the video there. I hope you guys have a good time going through the demo. I love making demos. I think it's a really fun process. So enjoy it, and I am excited to see what you guys come up with. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.